Hey, amazing people. We're back for day. What day is it? 7? I have my producer over there. Say something, producer.
Hello.
I don't know if you can hear that hello, but he says hello. All right. My producer for the day, Alexander, amazing man of God. So says day 7 over here. So day 7, we're going to do Mark 14, only one chapter, and it's on purpose today. Day 7 is only one chapter, and that's Mark 14. However, it's a full chapter. Don't sleep on chapter 14. It's pretty amazing. You get the plot to kill Jesus, you get Judas, you get fig trees. It's incredible. Lord God, touch our mind. Let us absorb the word for today. All right, let's get into this, guys. It's going to be pretty amazing. Okay, chapter 14. It was now 2 days before the Passover and the Feast of Unleavened Bread, and the chief priests and the scribes were seeking how to arrest him by stealth and kill him. For they said, not during the feast, lest there be an uproar from the people. So they're plotting on how to kill Jesus, but they're just not sure when is a good time. But they know a bad time will be during Passover, when everyone is, respecting Jesus and everyone believes in Jesus. They're excited about what Jesus is saying. So they don't want an uproar from the people, an uprising. They don't want them to tear the city up, especially with so many people doing Passover. The most people that are in the city. Think of the largest festival your city ever has. I know in Louisiana we had Mardi Gras. Here in Texas there's a strawberry festival. So during a festival, when you have 10 times the amount of people in the city, is the last time you want to riot. So they don't want to kill Jesus at this time, but they do want to kill him. All right. And while he was at Bethany in the house of Simon the leper, as he was reclining at a table, a woman came with an alabaster flask of ointment of pure nard, very costly, and she broke the flask and poured it over his head. So this woman comes in, very expensive oil, and she breaks the oil and the container and just pours it all over Jesus. Basically a high sign of honor and respect. There were some who said to themselves indignantly, so they were upset, why was the ointment wasted like that? For this ointment could have been sold for more than 300 denarii or given to the poor. And they scolded her. So basically, this was a lot of money. Why did you pour it on Jesus's head? We could have sold it and given it to the poor. And why did you waste this on Jesus? Wow. Why did you waste this on Jesus is what they told him. But Jesus said, red letter here, guys. What does red letter mean? That's right. It's the words of Jesus himself, not quoting Jesus, but Jesus actually speaking. Leave her alone. Why do you trouble her? She has done a beautiful thing to me. For you will always have the poor with you, and whenever you want, you can do good for them. But you will not always have me. She has done what she could. She has anointed my body before burial. Remember, beforehand for burial. So remember, he's going to die. And he's told them a couple times now, I think 2 or 3 times. I think last time I said 2, but it may be 2 or 3 times now. Hey, I'm going to die. So he's saying, hey, she's anointed me for burial. It's okay. And truly I say to you, wherever the gospel is proclaimed in the world, the whole world, what she has done will be told in memory of her. 10. Then Judas Iscariot, who was one of the 12, went to the chief priests in order to betray him to them. And when they heard it, they were glad and promised to give him money. And he sought an opportunity to betray him. Dun, dun, dun. All right. And on the first day of unleavened bread, the festival of unleavened bread, this is a feast, when they sacrificed the Passover lamb. So this is all during Passover. This is all during the Passover time. If you remember, or if you're familiar with the story where Moses comes to release the people of Israel, the plagues come to the Egyptians who are holding them as slaves and prisoners, roughly slaves more so because they have to work. Prisoners are just in jail. These are slaves. They have to work and they have to have permission to leave the country. They're trapped there without being able to leave and they're forced to work. God sends the plagues for the plagues to pass over their house, where they come with Passover. To pass over the house, they had to put the blood of the lamb on the lintel and the doorpost, basically on the bridging of the door. So this festival, and God tells them to commemorate them escaping Egypt and being passed over with the feast of Passover. So part of the feast of Passover is unleavened bread. And the reason they called it unleavened bread is because when they were running from the Egyptians, they didn't even have time to really bake the bread and make it properly. So they just had unleavened bread. They just threw it in sacks and they had to get up out of there, right? Quick, fast, and in a hurry like. So part of the feast of Passover is them commemorating having to leave so quickly that they didn't even have time to put leaven in the bread and bake the bread. So basically they took the dough and rolled, right? So during this part, the first day is unleavened bread, because that was probably the first thing you did was pack something to eat when it was time to leave. So on the first day of unleavened bread, when they sacrificed the Passover lamb, his disciples said to him, "Where will you have us go and prepare for you to eat the Passover?" And he sent two of his disciples and said to them, "Go into the city, and a man carrying a jar of water will meet you. Follow him, and wherever he enters, say to the master of the house, 'The teacher says, where is my guest room, where I may eat the Passover with my disciples?' And he will show you a large upper room furnished and ready. There prepare for us." And the disciples set out. So he's telling them to prepare in this room that the guy's going to show. And the disciples set out and went to the city and found it just as he had told them, and they prepared the Passover. And when it was evening, he came with the 12, and as they were reclining at the table and eating, Jesus said, "Truly I say to you, one of you will betray me, one who is eating with me." And they began to be sorrowful and to say to him, one after another, "Is it I?" He said to them, "It is one of the 12, one who is dipping bread into the dish with me. For the Son of Man goes as it is written of him, but woe to that man by whom the Son of Man is betrayed." Red letter, so you guys know this is Jesus talking. "It would have been better for that man if he had not been born." So he's saying, hey, one of the 12 is going to betray me, one of my inner circle. It'd be better if that man wasn't born. And if you guys are noticing these little letters around this in this Bible version, there's little notes that you can read up in addition. And if you're reading online, you'll see that a lot. Or from an app, they have little letters where you can get additional information. All right, verse 22. And as they were eating, and these are just just to go back, the letters there are just notes by translators and people, hey, like fun facts. Here we go. And as they were eating, he took bread, and after blessing it, broke it and gave it to them and said, "Take, this is my body." So we're seeing the Lord's Supper or communion here. "Take, this is my body," Jesus talking. "And he took a cup, and when he had given thanks, he gave it to them, and they all drank of it. And he said to them, 'This is my blood of the covenant, which is poured out for many. Truly I say to you, I will not drink again of the fruit of the vine until that day when I drink it new in the kingdom of God.' And when they had sung a hymn, they went out to the Mount of Olives." This is where it's about to go down. "And Jesus said to them, 'You will all fall away, for it is written, I will strike the shepherd, and the sheep will be scattered. But after I am raised, I will go before you in Galilee.' Peter said to him, 'Even though they all fall away, I will not.' And Jesus said to him, 'Truly I tell you, this very night, before the rooster crows twice, you will deny me 3 times. But he said emphatically, 'If I must die with you, I will not deny you.' And they all said the same. And they went to a place called Gethsemane. That's why we say it in English, but it's Gethsemane. It is an oil press. And he said to his disciples, 'Sit here while I pray.' And he took with him Peter, James, and John. That's kind of his 3. And began to be greatly distressed and troubled. And he said to them, 'My soul is very sorrowful, even to death. Remain here and watch.'" He's asking them to watch with him at the Gethsemane. That's the oil press. Now, we've made the tradition of calling it the Garden of Gethsemane, or the Garden at Gethsemane. That's a conflation of 2 concepts of Gethsemane or oil press, and in one of the books saying that was a garden. a good possibility for this is they were sleeping in the Gethsemane. The oil press has been like an underground cave almost, where they carved out a place for an oil press. Remember, virgin olive oil and oil would have been a big commodity. Remember, oil was poured on Jesus' head, and they talked about how expensive this is. So this is somebody with money that has an oil press, possibly a follower of Jesus, and said, hey, you guys can stay here. Or Judas, they had money. They may have just paid to stay there during that time of year. There was no Hilton hotels or Motel 6s. You remember, Jesus himself was born in a barn. So you slept where you could. So they're at the Gethsemane, and you walk out, there's a cultivated plot, which we translate as a garden. So they most likely came out of the Gethsemane, the oil press, the place where they make the oil, into a garden, which is where they would have been praying, or a cultivated plot. It could have been some type of farm. So they come out, they're praying. Jesus is very sorrowful. That's the backstory thus far. Okay. It says, to be greatly distressed and troubled. And he said to them, my soul is very sorrowful, even to death. Remain here and watch. So he's just saying, hey, just watch as I pray. And going a little farther, he fell on the ground and prayed that if it were possible, that hour might pass from him. Because remember, he's about to go be beaten, spit on, tortured, pierced, and murdered, all for you and I's sake. Because you and I, we're sinners. We've lied. We've done things that are wrong. Which means in a perfect heaven with a perfect God, you and I are not qualified to go. We're qualified to go to hell. We're people who've done the things that we've done, been deceitful, mean, unkind, but definitely not to a place that is perfect. Perfect? We're not perfect. So how will we qualify to go to a perfect place? Jesus is about to take the punishment that you and I should have taken so that we have access to a perfect, heavenly, amazing place. And before he faces this, he says, hey, if there's any other way, he's praying to God. If there's any other way, so you got the Son of God praying to God, take this away from me if there's any other way. And we have those moments. Have you ever had those moments where you're like, God, if there's any other way, I don't want to wait 6 months to do this. I don't want to move to the city to do this. I don't want to have to. If there's any other way. But listen, let's follow Jesus' example. That's what he says. He says, my soul is sorrowful, even to death. Remain here and watch. And going a little further, he fell on the ground and prayed that if it were possible, the hour might pass from him. And he said, Abba, meaning Father, Father, all things are possible for you. Remove this cup of suffering, this cup of pain. Move this cup from me. Yet not what I will, but what you will. He's saying, if there's another way, Lord, to get this done and achieve the exact same outcome, let's go that way. But if it's not, and I must suffer for the greater good of the gospel and to do the right thing, if I must suffer, then ultimately, Lord, not my will, but what you will, what you want. And he came and found them sleeping, and he said to Peter, so Peter, James, and John, he says, I just need you guys to watch. I'm going to go pray. You guys just watch. Just watch out. Watch. I'm going to go pray. He goes and prays. He comes back. What's going on? Peter and Simon are asleep. And he came and found them sleeping, and he said to Peter, Simon, are you asleep? So remember, Simon called Peter, same person. Could you not watch 1 hour? Watch and pray that you may not enter into temptation. The spirit indeed is willing, but the flesh is weak. And again, he went away and prayed, saying the same words. He's praying to the Lord fervently. Remember, the Lord tells us to petition him. So pray, petition, ask the God, not just once. Continue to press the Lord until you get the answer. So he goes back and he's going to press the Lord and pray. And here, goodness, what's about to happen again? And he came and again he came and found them sleeping. Their eyes were very heavy, and they did not know what to answer him. So this is the second time. And he came the third and said to them, are you still sleeping and taking your rest? It is enough. The hour has come. The Son of Man is betrayed into the hands of sinners. Rise, let us be going. See, my betrayer is at hand. So he called his ultimate three, Peter, James, and John. He knows he's about to be betrayed and enter into this period of suffering. And he says, listen, can you just watch and pray? If not for me, for yourself, that when they kill me, that they don't come back and get you, or that you don't fall into temptation. 3 times. They fell short. He didn't say, hey, forget them. I can't believe they did this. He just loves and forgives. An example to us when our friends can't do what we want them to do. At least we're not dead like Jesus. At least his friends didn't sell him out in his last hour. And they didn't sell him out. They fell asleep. Sometimes we ask too much of people, and sometimes we don't ask too much. They just fail us. We have to forgive and love and move on. All right. And immediately, while he was still speaking, Judas came out, one of the 12, and with him a crowd of swords and clubs from the chief priests and the scribes and the elders. So while he's getting on to Peter, James, and John, there he says, you know what? My time of betrayer is here. Betrayal is at hand. My betrayer is here. And Judas comes out with soldiers and people to ultimately arrest and eventually murder Jesus. Now the betrayer had given them a sign saying, the one I will kiss is the man. Seize him and lead him away under guard. And when he came, he went up to him at once and said, Rabbi, means teacher. And he kissed him. So Judas is betraying him with a kiss. Sorry about that, scrolling too fast. And they laid hands on him and seized him. But one of those who stood by drew his sword and struck the servant of the high priest and cut off his ear. And Jesus said to them, have you come out as against a robber, red letter to Jesus, with swords and clubs to capture me? Day after day I was with you in the temple teaching, and you did not seize me. But let the scripture be fulfilled but they all left him and fled. So this is crazy, because he's saying, I was with you every day. Remember, he was in the middle of the festival, all of the people around teaching, and before the festival, he's around teaching, and he says, I was in the city teaching around all of you, the elders, the Romans, the Jews, everybody, and no one did anything. But now I'm out here praying, and you come with soldiers and swords and clubs to beat me and arrest me like I'm a criminal? All right. It's a good point, right? And the young man followed him with nothing but a linen cloth about his body, and they seized him. So when he says this, they kind of take pause, but they regroup, and they arrest him. One man fled, because remember, they're at night, and they're held up in a oil press. So when the soldiers start arresting Jesus and all of the commotion, somebody flees. It says the only thing that was on him was his linen cloth. He was sleeping at night. He took the wool off. It would have been hot. And they seized him, but he left the linen cloth and ran away. So the man left with no clothes on, just trying to get away from the soldiers that are out there picking them apart like criminals. And they led Jesus to the high priest, and all the chief priests and the elders and the scribes came together. And Peter had followed him at a distance, right into the courtyard of the high priest. And he was sitting with the guards and warming himself by at the fire. So remember, Jesus already told Peter, you're going to deny me 3 times. Jesus is like, no, you may have to die with you. But they arrest Jesus. One guy runs away. They don't take Peter. They don't take anyone other than Jesus. The guy that ran away might have been the guy. So there's another. Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John tell similar stories, but from each person's individual vantage point. So let me not give away the next book's vantage point here. So you have to wait to see what Matthew and what the account in Matthew, how this goes. Nonetheless, now the chief priests and the whole council were seeking testimony against Jesus. Peter's out there warming himself by the fire. They're seeking testimony against Jesus to put him to death, but they found none. For many bore false witness against him, but their testimonies did not agree. So they've gotten people to tell false testimonies against Jesus, to bear false account. The problem is they didn't give them all the same story. They just told them, I guess, to make up stuff about Jesus, and what they're making up doesn't make sense and doesn't corroborate. And some stood up and bore false witness against him, saying, we heard him say, I will destroy this temple that is made with hands, and in 3 days I will build another not made with hands. Yet even about this, their testimony did not agree. And the high priest stood up in the midst and asked Jesus, have you no answer to make? what is it that these men testify against you? But he remained silent and made no answer. So they're accusing him of stuff. They're bringing people in to bear false witness and to basically fib on the stand. And yet Jesus doesn't even try to defend himself. Not at this point. Again, the high priest asked him, "Are you the Christ, the Son of the Blessed?" And Jesus said, "I am. And you will see the Son of Man seated at the right hand of power and coming with the clouds of heaven." So if you see the Son of Man there, it's bold letters. He's not saying I'm the son of a man. He's saying Son of Man. It's a title. Son of God, Son of Man. There were titles used in the Old Testament, which we will get to right after we finish the majority of the New Testament with the exclusion of Matthew. We'll finish up with Matthew last. So we'll kind of finish where we started. In Matthew, when we're reading Matthew, you haven't read the rest of the Bible, we should have a much richer insight. So he's using the Son of Man here because in the Old Testament, the Savior is called the Son of Man. So he's saying, yeah, I am the Son of the Blessed, the Son of God, and you will see the Son of Man, referring to the prophecy of the coming Messiah. And you'll see at the right hand of power, the right hand of God, and coming with the clouds of heaven, talking about Revelations, the apocalypse, the rapture. He says, you'll see me again. And the high priest tore his garments and said, "What further witness do we need?" Because they're accusing him of blasphemy, saying that exactly this, that he's the Son of God and that he's the Messiah, he's the Savior, which they're waiting on the Savior. Jesus comes and says, "I am the Savior," but they're saying, "You're not the Savior. You can't be the Savior." And they're want to murder him for pretending to be the Savior. And the high priest tore his garments and said, "What further witness do we need? You have heard his blasphemy. What is your decision?" And they all condemned him as deserving death. Now, just telling somebody you're the Savior shouldn't commend you to death. If anything, they should just think you're either really the Savior or you're totally delusional, but not murder you. They have an axe to grind against Jesus. And it has nothing to do really with him proclaiming to be the Savior. And they all condemned him as deserving death. And some began to spit on him. Talk about due process, right? And to cover his face and to strike him, saying to him, "Prophesy." And the guards received him with blows. So they beat him, and now they're mocking him, basically saying, "Prophesy. If you're the Savior, go ahead and prophesy. If you're who you pretend to be or claim to be, tell us who hit you." So they're making a mockery of him, and Jesus is allowing this mockery to be made of the Son of God, the part of the triune God, for the sake of you and I. How many of us, for the sake of people we don't even know, would allow ourselves to be spit on, beat, and eventually murdered? Verse 66. He told Peter he's going to deny him, and here it goes. "And as Peter was below in the courtyard, one of the servant girls of the high priest came, and seeing Peter warming himself, she looked at him and said, 'You also were with the Nazarene, Jesus.' But he denied it, saying, 'I neither know nor understand what you mean.' And he went out into the gateway, and the rooster crowed. And the servant girl saw him and began again to say to the bystander, 'This man is one of them.' But again he denied it. And after a little while, the bystanders again said to Peter, 'Certainly you are one of them, for you are a Galilean.' So you're from the same place as Jesus. I believe I've seen you with Jesus. You're for sure one of them." But he began to invoke a curse on himself and to swear. So now Peter is swearing. Third time they've come to him and say, "Yeah, you're with Jesus." Now, mind you, Jesus is about to be murdered, so nobody wants to be with Jesus at this point. And he's denying. A moment ago, he's saying, "Oh, I'll die for you, Jesus." And now when it comes to it, he's swearing, going, No, I don't know Jesus. I don't know Jesus at all." And immediately the rooster crowed a second time. And Peter remembered how Jesus had said to him, "Before the rooster crows twice, you will deny me 3 times. And he broke down and cried. That's the end of day 7. Day 8 tomorrow will begin day 8 in chapter 15. But I just want to say this. How many times have we broken Jesus' heart the same way Peter did. Jesus came and saw Simon and all of his humanity, and he didn't condemn Simon. He says, you know what? Not only I'm going to love you, I'm going to change your name from Simon to Peter. Peter meaning rock. So he's saying you are a rock. You are a pillar. He's seeing who Peter is and can be, not who he was. And he's just loving Peter. He's teaching him. He's feeding him, giving him power to cast out demons and to do miracles. And Peter's all amped up and saying, Jesus, I will follow you to the gates of hell if you want me to. I will die for you. And he says, Peter, you won't. He says, I will, Jesus. What do you mean? And Jesus says, you won't. Before the rooster crows twice, you will deny me 3 times. Die for me. You won't even tell people you know me. And isn't that us? In a lot of ways, think about it. Isn't that us? We like, oh, I love Jesus. I want to live for Jesus. My life is all about Jesus. But then we go on our job and we don't want to mention him because we're afraid of being fired. We don't want to give to the church. Oh, churches are wrong or crooked. We don't want to give to the church. We don't want to give to Jesus because it's inconvenient. We don't want to spend time. Maybe we'll give money to the church, but we won't actually step foot in. Or maybe we'll step foot in, but we're not going to volunteer. We're not going to open doors for people or help out in a parking lot. Or maybe we'll help as an usher, but we won't spend that extra time to pray. We won't spend 15 minutes a day in the Bible. Jesus, I'll die for you. Well, can you at least spend 15 minutes in my word? I'll die for you. Will you pray? I'll die for you. Will you come to church? I'll die for you. Will you tell other people about me? You pay your tithes and give an offering? Happily, but not begrudgingly. The Bible says if you begrudgingly give to the church, he doesn't even want you to give. If it's not from a good, pure place, a joyful place where you want to give, he'd say, keep your money. This is the Bible. The Lord's saying, hey, I don't need it. I'm God. I'm giving you an instruction. But if you want to begrudgingly do it, I'd rather don't just keep it. Keep coming to church, but keep your money. It's easy to judge Peter and go, my goodness, you walk with Jesus and yet you're denying him. But don't we walk with Jesus? How many times have we denied him? Lord, help us. Help us. Help our heart, soul, and mind for denying the Christ that loves us, that died for us, that gave up everything, that left heaven and power to come be spit on by humans. Tortured, murdered. And a great many humans don't even believe in him, and a great more do believe, but don't even act like it or follow. And that includes you and I. Lord, help us. So meditate on how we can get closer. That's the end of 7, day 7. Let's meditate on how we can stop denying Jesus as we're warming ourselves by the fire, by the warmth of convenience, by the warmth of YouTube, the warmth of social media, the warmth of a good job, the warmth of family, the warmth of clean water, the warmth of not living in poverty. As we warm ourselves by the fire of our convenience, let's think about how we can stop denying Jesus in our lifestyle. Listen, I love you. More importantly, God loves you. Let's pray, and I'll see you tomorrow.